All right. I suppose we can just jump in a couple of minutes early. I don't think that's going to hurt anything. I hope everyone is doing well out there today. Thank you for spending at least a few minutes of your Saturday with me while we just kind of hang out for a bit and chat, maybe talk about some self-hosting stuff from the self-hosting newsletter. We had made that attempt last week and kept getting sidetracked, which honestly, I love. So we got James Collins here. Appreciate you being here, man. Quiet Association and Forsaken One. Thank you both for also joining. I know we've got some other people hanging out and lurking, and that's cool. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Even if you don't have anything to say, I think it's cool that you're hanging out with me or with us, really. So yeah, thanks for stopping by on a Saturday. Flameberg, he's here as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys hanging out today. I'm still working on, so last Saturday after we ended the live stream, I was kind of feeling gross, starting to get a bit of a sore throat. Sunday, full blown sore throat. Monday, even worse. Then it started letting up over the next couple of days, and here we are a week later, still dealing with some stuff. Like my wife's got it now too. We're both dealing with thrush. And I don't know if you don't know what thrush is, it's where like your gums swell and it's uncomfortable and sometimes painful. We're both dealing with that now. At first I thought it was the antibiotics that I was on, but she's not on the antibiotics and she's having the same issue. It's no fun, but we're both getting through it. So yeah, I'm a little slow, but definitely working through it. Let's see. Mental says hello from Sweden. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. Zero Linux, thank you so much for the $2 donation. And Jan, thank you for the channel membership donation. I appreciate you both doing that. Daniel says hello from Germany. And Craig from Australia, thank you guys for hanging out. Appreciate you being here as well. So yeah, that's why there was no video. I wasn't feeling well. I'm still kind of dealing with it, but we're gonna plow through. We're gonna hang out. We might even get to taking a look at some new stuff over on the self-hosted newsletter. And I agree with Collins. Says I'm not sure what I enjoy more about the newsletter, Ethan's snark / sense of humor, or all of the updates. I agree. If you guys aren't subscribed to the self-host newsletter, you should be. Ethan puts this out every week. I can't think of a week he's ever missed, which is way better than I can do for consistency. Well done on him for that. But this is linked in the video description, but I'll also throw it over here just so you guys can do that. Big button right behind my stupid head there. Let me drag this down a little bit. Big button right there where you can subscribe to the newsletter. I've never seen anything as a result of him selling anything. I don't think he's actually doing, he's not selling your information. That's what I'm trying to say, holy cow. Daniel, thank you so much for both the compliment and the donation. That was really nice of you. Thank you very much for that. Mandy's here, glad to have you here. So yeah, we're just gonna hang out today. You have the RSS or the newsletter in your feed. That's awesome. Wife got me the new hoodie for my birthday a couple of weeks ago. It was a little late. Had to ship from out of the country, but I've got a very white cat, and this has kind of been my attitude lately towards a whole lot of things. So she felt it was appropriate. So that's what's going on there. Just very, very, very me. So no, I've been kind of like the first Saturday, Sunday, part of Monday. I spent a lot of time in bed as I was dealing with not feeling well. But doing better. We had to run some errands, and of course when you don't feel well and have to run errands, it kind of drains you more than it should. So yeah, we're still working through it. In the midst of all of that, I'm working on a product review with a company, and and was really excited to do. And like the product is cool. It's kind of a futuristic technology kind of thing that I love the idea of the technology. I ran into a bit of a unique situation with the functionality of the device as a result of our kid being having autism. What? Oh, fuck. Sorry, she's going to deal with that later. Anyway, so I'm dealing with this product review, and I was like, hey, I ran into this situation that's fairly unique, but would show a lot of forward thinking for your audience if you were able to implement this feature. I only noticed it because of my kid who has autism, and kind of some of the stuff he does isn't necessarily unique, but I can see where it would cause issues for other people, especially if the other people who are using your product aren't necessarily tech savvy. And I wasn't trying to say, hey, you should fix this because my kid's autistic and you should fix this for me. It was a real life situation that I could see other people experiencing, and I was like, and I brought up his autism because I wanted to explain why this was an issue, at least for our family. And later I found a workaround, and I explained the workaround to her, but her response was one of the most unprofessional things I've ever experienced from a brand representative. And I'm not going to tell you who the brand is. It's irrelevant. I'm still fine with the brand, but I feel like what she did was super unprofessional. She tried to tell me that we needed to put our son on a heavy metal detox diet and regimen and whatnot, and it would cure his autism. She sent me links to BS science articles where I found that the author was indirectly responsible for being for the death of at least one child because of his nonsense, his lies, his misinformation. Somebody called him, somebody who believed in his nonsense, called him. He then charged her $300 for an hour on the phone. She listened to everything he had to say, and 48 hours later, her child was dead. And I let her know that I'm super unimpressed with her lack of professionalism, and that I feel like it should probably be reported to her superiors. And I cited my sources on the nonsense that she was spewing. As far as, like, I actually found the article where his suggestions to the parent resulted, directly or not, in the death of a child. And I was like, look, he's known for selling nonsense. Like, that's his whole thing of, buy my book, buy my supplements, buy my stuff. That is all nonsense. And it's been proven time and time again. So I'm also dealing with that mental struggle of like wanting to perform violence on people. And like, obviously I'm not a violent person, but just the amount of rage I felt in that moment, is just, I let my wife read, the email response, that I got from this person at this, from this anyway. And we're both very, very upset, that anyone who does, especially somebody who doesn't know us, who doesn't know our kid, who doesn't know the struggles we've been through, would try to shill for this person who's just a snake oil salesman, as was mentioned a few minutes ago, from Mental. Yeah. So it's yeah, I just filled with rage when I read that email, and I sat on it for a few days before I responded. But my email was professional. I didn't swear, though I very much wanted to. But I encouraged them to keep that stuff to themselves moving forward, because it wasn't appreciated, and I cited my sources. So yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Collins, yeah, she did. She did send that from her professional email account. I can't sue. They're in China. There's nothing I can do about it other than let her know that I'm really unimpressed. Yeah, so I'm going to see what her response is. Sorry, drinking some really hot tea right now to help with my voice. So yeah, that was just, it was like already not feeling well and then getting something that unprofessional. Practical IT with Jeremy, thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you being here. Darkan15, thanks. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you being here too. Daniel, I don't know. Like I said, like I don't think it's going to come to anything. It was just I've never like I have been parts of hundreds of emails back and forth with different companies and different brands and different agencies and for different reasons. His autism diagnosis has come up for different reasons, obviously, right? And this is the first time I've ever had someone send me links to articles from somebody like this. Flameberg says, just CC forward this, including her manager. I don't have her manager's email address. I've only got the POC, the point of contact there. I've only got this one person's email address. I told her, like I even told her in the emails, like, I don't know if I want to continue working with you because of your lack of professionalism. She tried to put in a disclaimer of like, this doesn't, like represent the beliefs or the views or beliefs of this company. And I was like, cool, then you should shut your damn mouth. But she tried to add that before all of her nonsense came through. And like the person, to give you an idea of the reputation of this person, he was apparently endorsed by Gwyneth Paltrow's company Goop. And if you're not familiar with Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow said that sticking if a woman were to put a jade egg in her reproductive system opening, it would cure all of her ails. So that's the kind of people we're dealing with here. So I'm still processing a lot of what I'm feeling about this whole situation. It was definitely the most unprofessional email response I've ever received from a company, especially not knowing us, our kid, the things we've been through, the struggles we've had, the things we've tried. For her to say something so outlandish and so dangerous blew my gourd, just blew my friggin' gourd. So it's whatever. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm going to move forward with this. So yeah, if you're sending from a company, you're representing the company exactly, and that's exactly how I view it as well. So we'll see what happens. But it was like I was already having kind of a rough week, and then you're gonna throw pseudoscience at me that doesn't amount to anything. Just whatever. So anyway. But yeah, so and then we had a visitor. We had somebody sleeping on our couch. I needed a place to crash for a week, which was fine. No issues. They were super respectful. Everything went really well there. But anytime you've got a guest, it throws off the energy in the house or the vibe or the you're not necessarily walking on eggshells or whatever. But like it's it's whatever. So it was a lot going on all simultaneously. And I didn't have the wherewithal to make a video this week. So going through the tough time as well to such a degree that I was ordered by a double track. Wow. Being asked to travel abroad. Man, I wish I had a doctor that would ask me to do that and then have my insurance cover it. That'd be even better. But I hope you feel better, Zero. That doesn't sound like a good time. I mean, the travel might sound like a good time, to help with mental health, but I hope you're able to come up with something that works for you. Right. So there's my little TED talk for the morning, I suppose. Let's jump over real quick and take a look at the Self-Host newsletter and see what Ethan has been up to this week. I think that would be good. I need to lock some of this. That's fine. There we go. No insurance and travel is to another doctor to get treated there. Wow. Yeah, I had that happen once too, a few years ago. I reached out to my primary care physician. I was like, hey, I got these symptoms. What do I do? And he's like, go to the ER. And I was like, oh, well, then there you go. So, so this week's self-hosted newsletter, I haven't actually opened it prior to right now. I just haven't had the brain power. So to kick things off, apologies for the several thousand readers that I rickrolled last week. I was actually so committed to the bit that I bought a dummy domain for a few bucks, opensource.wow, that I was unable to configure in time. I promise all of the links below are safe. That's funny. Fortunately, I don't always have time to respond. In lieu of this, I thought I would address a few popular feedback themes this week. There are too many projects listed in the newsletter. I tend to disagree with that. I think there's a great amount of projects in the newsletter. We do a disservice to not to any project by not listing it. In a few weeks, I'll begin marking 5 to 6 apps in each section as the editor's choice for those who, for some reason, trust my judgment and don't want to dig through the list themselves. I dig that. Yeah, Collins, I agree. Like I rely on this email for up-to-date information about what's going on. Michael says, what do you think about the Rust language? I think it's very popular right now. Beyond that, I've got no experience with it other than a few apps that I've used that are written in it, like Vault Warden RS is written in Rust. It's great. I've never so far had an issue with Rust or with Bitwarden. I think that's awesome. So I don't like, I'm not a developer, so I don't really have a lot to say about it other than the apps that I've used that were written in it were great. Colin says this newsletter is one of the only I read through completely each week. Yeah, like I won't go so far as to say that I read all the way through it every time. Like I'll skim it to see if there's anything that jumps out at me. I'll read those sections, and of course all of the apps. I always go through that pretty heavily. Let's see. To add an SSO toggle to the directory, I am, and it's almost there. I'm currently working on a redesign that will pivot to wrapping up the SSO tag as soon as I'm finished. That's cool. So basically, it sounds like coming over to here, there will be some sort of a tag up here that you can like click, and it will show apps that have SSO available to them, whether you're using TinyAuth or Authentic or Authelia, or any of those third-party auth services. It sounds like he's going to have some sort of a toggle up here that will filter those down, so you can see those as well, which I love. We've actually talked a little bit about. I don't know if it was in Discord or if it was here on the live stream. As far as using SSO. I think it's great if you've got more than just one person accessing it. Like I'm the only one that accesses most of my stuff. So for me, it doesn't necessarily make sense to use SSO. That single sign-on, I keep saying that, but for those who don't know, SSO is just short for single sign-on. So you've got like one email and one password that log into everything. That also has a two-factor authentication on top of that. So you've got one login portal that ties into multiple applications that allows you to just have that one username and password to log into everything. It simplifies things quite a bit. But if you're, I don't know that it makes a lot of sense for like one or even two people. If you get maybe, three or above, maybe it makes sense. But I think for like a one person setup, like I've got, as far as logins are concerned, I don't know that a single sign-on makes a lot of sense. But again, that's just my opinion on things. Why did you stop posting the newsletter on Reddit? I'm afraid I may have overstayed my welcome on r/self-hosted given a lack of engagement earlier this year. I've since switched to sharing just the first newsletter of each month, although users are always welcome to share it when I don't. That's interesting. I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't. I guess I hadn't paid attention to that, but I have to wonder. Like, part of me wonders what was said or what kind of a response Ethan got to this that made him switch to just sharing it once a month. Interesting. Spark Mail doesn't display the newsletter correctly. It's a ghost problem, not a me problem. Plus formatting emails it is. Yeah, typical Reddit being Reddit. Yeah, I believe that. Oh, sorry, I heard a noise behind me. Email formatting sucks. It really, really does. I used to work for a company that did websites and newsletters and that sort of thing, and I had to help back. I had to do some email templating and that sort of thing, and it just sucks, especially when each email service templates differently. Like I got pretty good with MailChimp. But again, trying to compensate for, everything from, Google and Yahoo and like there's a Thunderbird and Outlook and all the different mail providers interpret HTML differently inside their browser, and that sucks too. So bring back the podcast. You'd like that, wouldn't you? That almost seems like there's a bit of a side-eyed wink to that, like maybe, which I think would be cool. I think it would be cool if he did that, if he's got the bandwidth to do it. Sorry, I got to close some of this. And lastly, because one bulleted list is never enough, my highlights from the week. Future Home reminded us why we self-host by forcing customers to begin paying a subscription to use their hub after bankruptcy. I think somebody actually bypassed this. I remember seeing, God darn it, I can't think of the guy's name. He's a dude from New York, or was in New York, who has a repair business, big in the right to repair, who had put out like a $5,000 bounty for anybody who could come up with a workaround for this that the community agreed with. Louis Rossman, that's the name I'm looking for. I think Louis Rossman put out something about Future Home. I think it was Louis Rossman. Future Home, yeah. Future Home CEO threatens police after a $5,000 bounty. Louis Rossman has been talking about this. 6 days ago, Louis Rossman said Future Home solution released. So I'll be curious. DMCA instantly, $20,000 bounty winner can't share his solution. So apparently there is a solution, but he got DMCA'd. So that doesn't look good for Future Home at all. And for them to do that sucks. Like, I don't have anything Future Home, so it doesn't affect me directly, but I know that it will affect a fair number of people. I don't even know what Future Home is or what it does. Full light control. Disable all, screw off. So, okay, they've got all kinds of stuff. Why is this all in Kroner? So they do Zigbee, Z-Wave stuff. Yeah, this won't ever directly affect me because I don't, look, and that's me being very solipsistic about this. Just because it doesn't affect me doesn't mean it won't affect others, and hasn't affected others. Norwegian, disable all, screw you, you're not getting my data. and then it switched languages again. That's interesting. So it says full ecosystem. Michael is, yeah, it looks like Norway. Yeah. That sucks that they're being like that. Like I said, I don't think I'd even heard of Future Home until all of this popped up. Michael's saying some words I don't understand because I'm a dumb American that only speaks English and a little bit of Spanish at a very, very small amount. Home Assistant September update finally brings speak and volume control to Rio Link doorbells. That's cool. This dev built a third-party jelly seeker client for the Nintendo Switch. That's kind of cool. I'll be surprised if Nintendo doesn't have a fit about that. Every so often I stumble across a GitHub username that makes me chuckle. This week, meet the developer of Door Opener, Sloth on Meth. That's funny. Door Opener, a sleek single-button web portal for triggering any Home Assistant action like opening a building door, protected by secure PIN authentication, perfectly for apartment buildings, offices, or any scenario. That's really neat. That's pretty cool. And it's Docker compatible. Holy cow. Wow. That's pretty cool. Like I don't have a use for it or even have any idea how I would integrate it into my system, but that's pretty cool. Mr. Souza, Mateus, thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Jorge Gomez is here as well. Thank you for hanging out for a bit. Appreciate you guys being here. Kyle Watson is here also. Thanks for joining. How you doing? Glad to have you here. Self-Hosted Weekly is an independent publication supported by its readers. Consider signing up or making a donation to show your support. If you want to support Ethan and what he's doing, there's a button right there you can click. Why isn't there one standard? We explore why supporting multiple open smart home is better than having just one. Absolutely. Having options is always the way to go. If you get stuck into one single ecosystem or one specific standard, it can cause all kinds of issues if that standard ever decides that they want to change what they're doing to benefit them more than the community, or if that single standard goes out of business and stops supporting their standard, then somebody else has got to take it over, which they may not be able to do due to licensing or restrictions or whatever. Having multiple standards is always the better way to go, even though sometimes it makes things more complicated, right? But that's what I love about like Home Assistant, because you can take all of these different standards and bring them into Home Assistant and connect to them from one location versus having half a dozen apps on your phone that you have to click through to remember what goes where and what's connected to what, that sort of thing. When you've got something like Home Assistant where you've got multiple, where this central dashboard supports multiple technologies and connections and all of this stuff, I think it's really important to have all of those different technologies for the aforementioned reasons that can be brought into a single location and make it more easily managed, which I think is great. I think that's super important. Hey, Ben, how you doing? I had to rewind to hear about the craziness with the email from the vendor. Yeah, thanks. Sorry I had to deal with that kind of junk from her. It was all right. I just dealing with being sick. Now the wife has the bug that the kid brought in and gave to me, and I gave to her. So that's been fun or something. But thank you. I appreciate your kind words. I really do. Glad to have you here for at least a little while. We have next, detecting exposed LLM server, a Shodan case study on Olama. Right, sharing is caring. Right, that was actually the saying I was looking for. But dude, it's got my brain fuzzy. It's got my throat not feeling great. Like that's why I've got a really big jug of hot tea with lemon and honey and a little bit of creamer. Yeah. So it looks like Cisco found 1,100 or more exposed LLM or Olama LLM servers online, unsecured, with 20 plus open models. That's bonkers. Self-hosting update, migration to GitHub container registry. Wow, my brain blanked for a minute. Self-hosting update, migration to GitHub. So due to Docker limitations, we have migrated our images from Docker Hub to GitHub. That's for Bitwarden. Interesting. That's good to know. So if you're self-hosting, if you're self-hosting Bitwarden, make sure you check your Docker Compose, because they've moved this. They've moved their GitHub their Docker repository from Docker to GitHub. So be aware of that. That's good to know. Limburg says, yep, the LLM thing was actually an interesting one. One of the major dangers of random people self-hosting is opening ports at will. Yeah, people don't understand how important it is to not just open ports on your network. People can do nefarious things with those open ports, even if you have good intentions with them. If you just open ports and you don't understand what that port does, protect your lab. Like, if you don't understand that, people will absolutely take advantage of you, even if you've got good intentions. So no, you can't just open ports and expect not bad things to happen. Sorry if you hear me slurping. That tea is really hot, and I forgot that I'm wearing a lav mic. Hopefully it still sounds good. We tested it went well last week. I've got the noise cancellation thing on, but yeah. So if you're hosting Bitwarden, self-hosting Bitwarden, be aware your Docker Compose needs to change to update the new Docker image location. Selectively exposing apps via reverse proxy, only one port's exposed. Yeah, and that's the way to do it. Best protection is the same for STDs. Don't do random exposure. That's correct. I use tunnels for all of my stuff, whether it's Cloudflare or WireGuard. All of my stuff is tunneled. I've got no ports open on my network. I say that I do have ports 80 and 443 open on my network because I had to do in order to get my unified network set up to work with my fiber, I had to just I had to do like a DMZ kind of thing where everything's just open, and it just opened 80 and 443 as a result of that on my network or my fiber box. But I've got those forwarded back out of my network so that it doesn't, like, if you go to my IP address, it just redirects you somewhere else. It was just the easiest solution that I could come up with there. Yeah, you're just asking for trouble if you open ports to the outside world. There's so many easy options now. Yeah, like Mental mentioned, TwinGate is a super easy one to use. Cloudflare tunnels, the couple of them that I'd used previously, whose name escaped me at the moment. If you're a little friskier, you can use something like Pangolin. Yeah, Pangolin is the way, safe, scalable, and self-hostable. I tried NPM. So that's, I'm a big fan of Pangolin. I'm using that for some stuff. Ben asks, question for you. If there was someone that wanted to support your channel, would you suggest they do it directly through YouTube or a more direct way? So that's an interesting question, Ben. And I'm just going to bring this up because it's a great question, really. So if let's say you become a channel member, or you do a stream donation on YouTube, that goes into the bucket of my revenue that I'll get paid on the 21st of the following month. Shoot me a message, I'll give you DB's address. It's true, he's got it, but Collins knows to be careful with that. Because in fairness, I've also got Collins's address and phone number and all of that stuff, so be careful with that. So anyway, if you become a channel member, or you do a stream donation directly through YouTube, YouTube puts that in my bucket. I get paid on the 21st of the following month of that money. But YouTube also takes about 55% of your donation. So other ways that you can support, if you wanted to directly support, Sorry, I'm struggling with my mouse over here. Let me make sure this is muted because I don't want to listen to myself. If you go down to the video description here on YouTube, a little bit down, it says there are ways to support. There's Patreon. If you become a patron, there are multiple levels at which you can become a patron. I basically get access to that money immediately, and Patreon only takes a very, very small amount of that money, like 3% or something. If you go through PayPal, which is directly below that, that also goes directly to me as well. Trying to think, there's another link that I genuinely don't have there. That blows my gourd. Hold on. P3.ch. I'm going to bring this over here so we can all look at this together. If we scroll down a little bit, Patreon, Coffee is another way, directly through PayPal. Coffee and PayPal are effectively the same thing, because honestly, PayPal is the most direct way, if I'm being honest. Coffee, it will go straight to PayPal. And Coffee doesn't take a percentage. They're just kind of a donation-based thing for their support. But if you donate through Coffee, I've got an automation set up that will also say, "Hey, this person donated," and it'll like tweet out some stuff to give to announce to the world that you donated. So either of those, Coffee or PayPal, are direct. And Coffee doesn't take a cut, but PayPal does. It's very small. Let's see. Let me make Zero Linux says I use Cloudflare tunnels. I use a lot of my stuff is still on Cloudflare tunnels. A couple of months ago, when we did our next cloud stream, I set it up on my Pangolin instance, and because of the way I did things, Pangolin did its job and shut me down quick, but then locked me out of all of my stuff. So that was fun. So I had to switch everything off of Pangolin temporarily back to Cloudflare tunnels. And I moved some stuff back to Pangolin from tunnels, but I've been lazy and I just haven't moved everything back yet. So let's see what else. Mateus, I hope it's Mateus says, have you ever used Pulse? I'm using it integrated with Telegram. I have not used Pulse. I feel like somebody asked me, maybe it was you that asked me this on Discord. Somebody recently asked me about my thoughts on Pulse. I don't have an opinion on it. I don't remember what it is even. Pulse, self-hosted. Yeah. I think we did look at it last week. A responsive monitoring application for Proxmox VE that displays real-time metrics across multiple nodes. I think this is the one you're talking about. Let me see if this one. I think we talked about this briefly last week. Colin says it's outstanding. I haven't looked into it. I probably should make a video about it. I really should probably do that at some point. Maybe I'll save this. You got to implement this. Okay. Well, I will save this for later. Just so I can, I've got a, hold on. I've actually got a list of stuff in here that I've been, man, sure glad that wasn't there. Nope. Sorry. I'm trying to find, I've got a notepad with some stuff that I haven't named. Yeah, here it is. In fact, let's just rename this. Check these out. There we go. Now I can't screw that up again. So yeah, I got to take a look at that. Zero says I've got the same link stack name. Yeah, I really like that one. I've had it for a while. I've tried some others, which is kind of I do mean a dumb pad. But yeah, that's just the theme I landed on. I really like it. It's kind of catchy. I dig the aesthetic. Why Pangolin versus Tailscale, for example? I can't imagine a solution where Tailscale would block you from your own stuff. You're right. Because I really dig Pangolin. I like being able to access my stuff on a domain name. I like the ability to give certain people access to certain things very, very quickly and easily, where they don't have to install any custom software on their own computers or phones or whatever. I like a lot of what Pangolin is doing. The guys behind Pangolin are amazing. I bought a license to their software to help support them because I really like what they're doing. So I use Tailscale and Zero Tier. I've tried both of those as well. Those were the two I was trying to remember earlier. They're great products. I don't like the thing I don't like about Tailscale and Zero Tier when I used both of those was it's like, oh, well, now you get to remember this completely random IP address that has nothing to do with your actual service to access stuff. I know there's host files and things like that you can change, but I just didn't feel like dealing with that. I could set up a dashboard, sure, but I really like Pangolin. I like the way it works. And again, it's ease of access and accessibility for others when I need to have it. I will definitely take a look at Pulse. Kyle asks, have you had a look at DMARC? I was using it for last year, logged at the beginning of the month, say they're forcing users to pay. Remind me why I've never even heard of DMARC I. Mark I. The earmark for email. To protect your email domain reputation. I actually have DMARC set up. Like I get DMARC notifications all of the time. It's probably something a little different, but it sucks that they're making users pay now. Dave says, I read somewhere that Watchtower isn't currently being developed. Is it true? It's true. Watchtower hasn't been updated in a while. It hasn't, and that sucks. But I tried some other stuff, some other updaters or notifiers, that sort of thing, and I didn't like them. Like I tried doing DUIN. I know there's some others that do the same thing, but I'm only using Watchtower to get notifications, and so at this point I'm kind of putting myself at risk maybe, but none of my stuff is exposed to the internet. Like it sends me a notification through Godify. But that's also self-hosted. So doing DUIN is one that I know a lot of people are using. So there's options, but I've stuck with Watchtower just because I really like the way it works. DB Tech also, everyone click like. Yeah, if you're enjoying this stream and hanging out, definitely hit the like button. Also, I do all of my own. I manually update everything. Like I don't do automated updates. It's too dangerous. It still works, but yeah, Diun. Sorry, DIUN. You're right. I also tried What's Up Docker, WAD, WOD, or sorry, WUD. I didn't like the way they worked. But again, I'm a creature of habit. So, Jesus, Ben. Whoa. Buddy, are you sure? Thank you, Ben. That's a big donation. Thank you for that. That's like that. Thank you. I just saw that. Damn, dude. Thank you, Ben. That was really, really generous of you. Thank you. It's for DMARC reports via self-hosted email server. I gotcha. I prefer manual updates, so RSS is enough for notifications for me. Yeah, like I do everything through manual updates. I've had too many issues. There are too many potential issues to be had with automatic updates. I got to respond to something real quick. Hold on. I think that's the phone I reset yesterday. comes up since there's no let's see. I'm only using Watchtower for notifications. Have Godify the that's it sounds like Dave's doing the same thing I am, just Watchtower for notifications and then doing updates from there. So that's how I prefer to do things. And I haven't updated things in too long. I've been really lazy lately. I need to fix some stuff. So yeah. Zero, that sounds good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's go back over here for a minute. Let's see, replacing music streaming services with a self-hosted stack. I would love to talk about that, but YouTube is dumb sometimes. And I don't want to talk about that. WordPress shows off Telex as an experimental AI development tool. Matt Mullenweg introduced a new AI tool called Telex. Well, good for him. I still have thoughts about some of his nonsense. Freeant joins work with Home Assistant. Freeant works with Home Assistant. That's cool. I love seeing more of this, where companies are deliberately going out of their way to work with Home Assistant directly, without needing hubs, without needing third-party integrations. This is super important. Home Assistant has come a long way in the last few years. And I love seeing more and more companies being like, yeah, we'll jump on board to simplify your lives. Like we're each gonna, whether you're using Zigbee in this case, it's good to see that the companies are doing this to simplify the integration and the ability to use their stuff from a single dashboard. I love this. Good on Freeant. I'm not even sure who Freeant is. Freeant, let's take a look at Freeant. I feel like they deserve at least a little look here. Use only necessary cookies. There we go. The shortcut to peace of mind. Let's look at their products. I think products, holy cow. Air quality sensors, electric meter interface, entry sensors, wow. Motion sensors, pet sensors, motion sensor pro, smart buttons, cable, smart cable. What is smart cable? Oh, and electrical appliances holding you. Okay, that's cool. So that's great. A lot of different sensors from these guys that work just straight with Home Assistant. That's really cool. I want to look at like an air quality sensor. Because again, I'm curious. Yeah. Works with Zigbee, or works with via Zigbee with Home Assistant. That's awesome. Zigbee certified. Errors too dry. Get notified. Take action. This is cool. Okay, this is a lot of UK plugs. It looks like. I'd be curious to know if these work with like North American plugs. Form new friendships now. Oh, I see what they did there. That's kind of cool. Jason, thanks for joining, man. Glad to see you here. Always enjoy seeing familiar names. Let's see, can we, where to buy? Battle hubs, where to buy? Let's look at where to buy. Amazon, Germany, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, man, UK. Based in Germany, ships globally. But I feel like because of what I'm seeing here, that all of these are going to be European plugs. And when I say European, I mean not North American. So they're all going to have the plug that I can't use. Well, I hope that at some point, I seriously hope that at some point we get the opportunity to get these in North America. Um, Zero, I got your message. I'll address it later. Anyway, I hope that we can get more of this kind of stuff that's so easily adoptable in different ecosystems. I'd love to see more of this kind of stuff in North America. So that's very cool. That's great. Adventure Log. So cool thing. I actually got an email from the developer behind Adventure Log talking about their project. I haven't responded to him yet, but I think this is kind of cool. I dig it. Yeah, right. Ben says when you go to where to buy it, asks where do you live, and US isn't even on the list. Yeah, honestly, I don't blame them at this point. I can't imagine what it's going to do to prices on things for that kind of stuff. Yeah, you said it, Ben. That's exactly right. But yeah, anyway, the developer of Adventure Log reached out to me last night. I haven't had a chance to respond yet, but basically, if you click on View Demo, it can help you keep track of your adventures with a personalized travel log and share your experiences with friends and family. Easily create custom itineraries and get a day-by-day breakdown of your trip. Adventure Log Dev here. Love the stream. Watching in bed because I'm down with some sickness. Dude, Sean, that sucks, man. Thank you for reaching out. I appreciate it. I got your email yesterday. But with everything that's been going on, I'm going to look at this. I think this is very, very cool. I love that you have added Strava and Wanderer to this. I don't have either of those, either Strava or Wanderer, on any of my things. I need to look more into that. Because I'm currently on my own adventure for being more. I can't even think of the word, mobile. Instead of just sitting in a chair all day, I'm trying to get out and do more walking and be more active and that sort of thing. I think it's interesting that you've got Colorado right there as kind of one of your primaries, because I am right here basically, right where that dot is. That makes me smile a little bit. In Colorado Springs, so that's very cool to see. I've thought about getting some sort of device that would be better about tracking my location, that sort of thing. But the reality is, I'm very cheap, and I haven't done that yet. But I'm definitely planning on taking a look at this after I've got caught up on some things. In fact, I'm going to add this. I'm going to take this off of here. I'm actually going to add this to my list of stuff that I need to look at. We actually looked at Doc Peak already, so I can remove that. So those are other things I need to look at. But thank you, Sean, for your email. Really appreciate it. But I got it. If you're going through what I'm going through, you understand. Book lore, high resolution cover support and search. That's cool. Budget board. I'm terrible with budgets. I don't want to even get into that. DocMost has updates global search reorder table rows and columns. That's cool. New Home Assistant. I still need to update. I don't even know what version I'm on presently. I promise you won't do a video on it. That's funny. Ben, we still need to chat too. I need to shoot you an email. I need to Strava, psyching app, train track share. Yeah, I need to, I would like to get a device. Maybe my watch will integrate with it. I don't know. I've got a OnePlus 8 watch. I had a OnePlus 8 phone for a while, and I wanted a matching watch, so I got the OnePlus watch years ago. And I don't know what devices it works on. Also, I don't want to pay for a subscription for something right now. $292 based on a plan with 4 members. So I might have to look at, what was the other one? Wanderer? What is Wanderer? Wanderer. So this, yeah, this is the one. To decentralized self-hosted trail database. You can upload and record database GPS tracks. Interesting. Yeah, I'd have to find some way to do that. Strava is free to use. The subscription is optional. Mandy, thank you, because that was going to be a big put off for me. But thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Kyle says, to be honest, I use Komodo for orchestration and it works well with auto updates. Yeah, I don't doubt that a bit. Komodo's pretty awesome. At some point, I need to look at it again and do a dedicated video on it. We did a live stream months ago, but I need to do a dedicated video. Yeah, I haven't yet, and I need to. Oops, that's fine. There we go. Scroll down a little bit. That's better. To get any device that doesn't have a subscription allows you to extract raw data, use API access without it. I'm using a Fitbit. There's a small GitHub project extracting your data into an Influx database. That's really cool. I used to have, I used to be part of the Fitbit ecosphere. I had a couple of them, and the ones that I had at the time had issues with the material they used to, like the adhesive they used to connect the electronics to the band. I know they switched to a different mechanism for that, but again, I'm cheap, and they just kind of put a sour taste in my mouth with some of their earlier stuff. Their YouTube, Fitbit, band issues. Yeah, from 2015, like if you look up Fitbit band issues on YouTube, like that's the guy that my video is one of the top ranked videos for that. Like right there, 303,000 views on that video because of their stuff. And then there was an update video with 55,000 views. That was actually how I realized that I could have a voice on YouTube, was those two videos. There's also Polar, who makes a point of not having subscriptions. That's cool. Sean says that they are working on a mobile client. That's really cool. Strava had a bad reputation in terms of leaking user data. That's interesting. The way the Fitbit bands connected was absolutely awful. My wife also had a Fitbit. Yeah, I think they've changed Fitbit. Like, I don't know. Oh, that's right. Google bought Fitbit, didn't they? Did Google completed the acquisition of Fitbit in January of 2021. Interesting. Yeah. Andrew said, just turn into the stream. Were those your first videos? Technically, no. So let's go to youtube.com/tvtechbyt, right? You actually go to my channel, go to my videos, and go to oldest. Some of my oldest videos were about fish, betas or Siamese fighting fish, doing breeding stuff. I had some Oscars. I had way too many Oscars in this tank, but that was a whole other story. I rescued a bunch of Oscars, so I did some videos about them. Did some Oscar mating videos. This video right here was how to create a heart emoticon in an Android phone. That was 11 years ago. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife sitting in the other room, was wondering how I did that. She asked, and I was like, here, I'll just show you. And now that video has 37,000 views. I did a video about replacing the heater core in a 98 Volvo. That was there. Then the video about the Fitbit band. That one is my first big video. And then I had some issues with the motherboard. Another update there. And then I started doing review videos on just whatever nonsense companies would send me. So I did a lot of that stuff before I got into self-hosting. But yeah. So let me scroll up to Mandy says, I have an Amazfit watch. I've wondered about the Amazfit watches. I actually considered getting one for a while. Fit watch. Because they're, there we go. Yeah. Because they actually look pretty decent. I've actually really wondered about those devices because they look good. They look like good watches, man. So I've considered that, but again, I'm cheap. I have a OnePlus 2 watch and really love it. I believe that. I've been a big fan of my OnePlus watch for a long time. It just works. It doesn't matter what phone I attach it to. I did change the app recently to something different, but it just works and it's great. There's a great channel by qualified scientist guy, PhD in biometrics, has a chart of the bands compared in measurement quality. That's really good to know. That's cool. I heard the third is supposed to be nice, but I'm waiting for the cellular version. I believe that. Collins, thank you for reminding people to like and subscribe. Had a Fitbit, the very simple one, I liked it, but the Versa smartwatch was a pile. Did you change then also the channels? No, I don't even remember what the channel was called back then. I was really big into fish and aquariums, and I was part of a fish community back then, and people wanted to see my fish in the forums, and I was like, this is an easy way to do it. And I just started uploading different videos. So it was kind of a garbage way to do it. But it was a long time ago. So, oh, you've had the GTS Mini for a lot of years. That's good to know. Let's see. The Amazfit have a bad rep in terms of HR sleep measurements, per the guy quoted above. I also don't like the watches. I don't need the added stress of always being online. That's fair. Spoopas says, hi from Italy. Thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. I'll buy another watch when they can monitor blood sugar. There's a lot of garbage watches out there that say that they can do things that are actually impossible to do on a watch, like monitor your blood pressure. Can't do that, not accurately enough anyway, with a watch, unless it's actually squeezing and taking your pulse and checking all of the things that sphygmometer, I think that's what it's called, or blood pressure cuff can do. There's a lot of garbage out there with a lot of wild claims. So, Open Archiver got some updates. Redeck, data portability via interface, search automatic completion, image mode will pop up, embedded videos. That's really cool. I like the read later stuff like that. Roar Dog Media says, I have the Google Pixel Watch with a Fitbit subscription. It's not great. I would love open source solution. Yeah. Some watches can't even measure there's some real garbage stuff out there. There's a watch with cushions and claims to monitor your blood pressure. Yeah, look, they might be able to, but I've never found the wrist cuffs to be as accurate as the arm cuffs. Again, that's from a limited trial run of some different things over the years. I'm 100% on the arm cuffs. Ryan says, wanted to thank you for discussing of your health in one of these. Realized maybe my lightheaded dizziness was due to calories/diet. It's easy to eat healthy and think you're doing all of the right things, and then realize, even though you're eating right, you're eating healthy, you're doing the right thing, that you're still mildly starving yourself. I had to come to that realization myself a few weeks ago. So, Ryan, I hope that conversation was helpful. I hope you're doing better. I hope you're feeling better, because I know what it's like to to be dizzy all of the time. And it's like, I just ate. Like, I've eaten a lot today. But it was because it didn't have the calories I needed. And when I thought it did, I've made a bunch of changes since then. So I hope you've also been able to do the same. I hope you're doing better. I hope it was helpful. Colin says, I'm an Apple guy, no turning back now. Yeah. Vaz says, according to my old watch, I'm dead since a couple of months ago, as my average heart rate is 311. Dude, I hope you're not that tachycardic. I recently bought the Samsung Ring. It's honestly a game changer. I've really thought about getting one of the rings. I've really, really thought about getting one of the rings, because I think it's a really cool technology. Samsung Ring, but I've also heard a lot of mixed results on that, on those. So I don't know. I'm always a skeptic, because there's the Aura Ring. There's the Galaxy Ring. There's a few different ones out there, and I have mixed feelings on it. But I still think it's very cool technology that I'd love to try at some point. The Pixel 4 watch charge is really cool. Also acts as a clock for your nightstand. That's cool. There's literally just one band that's FDA approved for measuring heart rate. That's the Actia. They literally need you to re-baseline this thing using a regular cuff. The rest are inaccurate at best. Me too. The Aura is just so expensive. Yeah. Thomas W., thanks for joining. Glad to have you here. Was just about to say the Hilo or the Hilo looks like a new one, but it's Actia's brand. That's interesting, huh? I don't think I'd need the Pixel cuff or the Pixel watch for that. Still have my Lenovo smart clock running, Android on my nightstand. That's cool. I have my phone on my nightstand. And like I don't like it's got an always on display, so I don't have to like turn my phone on and change anything. Like I can just look briefly, and it's very dim at night with the always on display. It works really well for me. So yeah, what else we got here? We talked about Redact getting an update. Scriber transcription. I don't do much with transcription. Silver Bullet continuous sync across clients. Prior functionality removed and re-implemented via Space Lua. Some of the names of things, man. An open source personal productivity platform built on Markdown, turbocharged with the script power of Lua. I don't know what Lua is. Okay, interesting. I think that's a video. At its core, it's a note-taking application like a personal wiki, storing notes in the universal Markdown format in a folder on your server, web accessible, built as a local first PWA, keeping a copy of your content on your browser's local storage database, syncing. Interesting. Huh. Well, cool. This is what happens when hobbyist communities, when we go off topic, it's 40 plus issues like blood pressure. Dude, it happens a lot here. And I kind of enjoy it. Like, I know that not everybody's going to be about that, and that's fine. But it's why I keep trying to bring us back to here periodically, so we can talk about, the stuff in the self-host newsletter. If Ethan brings his podcast thing back, I'm going to have to relinquish this back to him, which is fine. It is his, and he has every right to do that. But we talked about it a while back, and it was fine. Watch at this current moment, 402 beats per minute. Went to measure with a proper machine at 72. Yeah, 72 is okay. 402 is not. Andrew says, I recently switched from DocMos to a Fiend or a Fine because it doesn't require a license for SSO. Funny enough, I didn't set up SSO for a Fine. Right. Ben did a video about a Fine recently. I haven't talked about this yet. But I'm pretty sure Ben or Snack Time did a video on this fairly recently. So you should check that out if you haven't. Termix server management. A couple of months ago, I added Termix back to my server and then I uninstalled it because it was kind of like managing, like I installed it on Proxmox to manage Proxmox LXCs, which seemed kind of redundant for what I was doing. Is there a website that you can go to doom scroll Docker container stuff and read up and check out and Windows shop to see if I can use it on my home server environment? Yeah, like self-host, like the one we're on right now, you can do that. Let's do this. If we come over to here and go to apps, like there's a ton of stuff in here that you can just keep scrolling and it lazy loads when you get to the bottom. They're all the hundreds and hundreds of apps here. It's linked in the video description for the self-host newsletter. Just go here and then like click on apps. It'll bring you to this page, and you can break it down if you want more details. You can do that as well. Do you want closed source or just open source stuff? You can toggle that kind of stuff on and off. Companions, activity pub, like you can break down what you're looking for. You can come over to here, find out what you're looking for, what platform. You can sort, you can search. This is what I would do, is come over to here. Andrew. Yeah, so hopefully that helps answer your question there. I really need to dig through here. I think it'd be fun to set up a Friendica thing here. But I just haven't. Mandy says, by the way, I've ordered a new strap for my smartwatch because I now only have the silicone strap and delayed for years on a nylon strap. This morning I did that. That's cool. That's really cool. I like having the ability to swap out straps for watches and that sort of thing. Like I've got my OnePlus watch, and then I've got something fancy that somebody gave me as a gift years ago. I replace the battery in it every several years. And I never wear it. It's heavy. It's really heavy. Kyle says, was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the hardware that you're running in your lab. Yeah, I could probably do that. If I'm smart, I can also do this other thing. Hold on, let me try something. This might be fun. Let me open this. Right, let me open DroidCam, and then let me come over. That's on me, right? That's fine. Phone. You might lose me visually for just a second here. DroidCam, OBS, properties, deactivate. I just got a new phone recently, so let's do that. Let's change the IP address. Let's click that. And activate. Hey, look, it's my dumb face. Yay. I don't think we need me on top of me. Let's click OK. Okay, hold on. We're gonna do this. I'll show you my home lab. Because why not? Oops. Let's drag that out all the way, and let's drag this out all the way. And then let's drag this over to here. What is that? Let me turn off some other stuff here. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that text is. Using BRO. Oh, yeah. I'm using a third-party app for this. Hopefully, you guys can't. Stupid. Oh yeah, you guys can still hear me, right? Like we're still good on audio. And my dumb face is there. Let's switch cameras. Let's do front. No, I want to do back. Back camera. Ta-da. Cool. Right. So you guys can see that. Yeah. Let's come over to here real quick. Oops. There's my server rack. Let's open this up. So on the top, Synology DS923 running backup for some of the stuff that's down here. We've got a TerraMaster NAS over here that's also, both of these are running backups for stuff that's going on down below. 10 gig switch from Unify pass-through panel to just keep things nice and tidy here, minus a few cables. These are just patch panel cables that actually work really well for the glowing stuff in the Unify. What is this? The USW Pro HD 24-port switch. And then below that is my Synology DS1621XS Plus. This was the first NAS I ever got. Synology sent this to me fully loaded with a 10 gig port and 6 8 terabyte drives in it. So I've got RAID 5 or something in there. So if one drive dies, I'm fine. If more than that dies, I'm screwed. But this has been the longest running thing in my home lab. I don't know why this is being like this. This is my 45 drives from those lovely folks at that company. This is currently running a good chunk of my home lab as far as my public facing stuff. But it's a beast, right? Like I think I can pull this out, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Let's pull this out. I'm sorry I'm not answering questions. I can't see what you guys are saying in the chat. So, but yeah, that's it right there. It's got an RTX 2070 in it. It's got a Xeon Gold processor, 256 gigs of RAM. Oops, come on, work with me here. There we go. And 2 hard drives. They're both 10 terabyte. Just running in a RAID ZFS. So I've got a total of 10 terabytes of drive space available. But I'm thinking I'm downsizing to this. This is a ZimaCube. It's not currently on. I've been kicking this around a little bit. I went back yesterday or the day before and put my Sparkle Intel GPU in there. I'm thinking I might upgrade the RAM. I don't remember how much RAM is in there, but I quit using it initially because the 10 gig network port is actually that little card right there that my middle finger is pointing at, that one, and it overheats and it causes connectivity issues. So I'm thinking about switching to something else. And then I've got a Triplite battery pack down there that it's super dusty that I need to clean. That's my my UPS for the whole rack. And that's my home lab. And then I've got that up there that we took a look at a while back in a live stream that I need to readdress. I did not exhale when I stood up, and that sucked. So yeah, there we go. Hi. So we're going to come back over to here, and then we're going to switch back to there. Cool. There we are. Yay. Let's turn that off. That's the first time I've ever done one of those. I'm glad that worked. Don't drop it, right? Let's see. Let's scroll back up. I know I missed some stuff. Cool. Audio's good. There he is. Awesome. All right. I've been recently struggling with Jellyfin on somewhat newer servers in my lab about upgrading to the EPYC 9504. All these issues have magically disappeared. The generation jumps are crazy. I believe that. Oh, excuse me. Don't drop it. Yeah, I'm trying not. I got lucky. I didn't drop it. That's a good question. Thanks for showing us your home lab. Absolutely. Thank you for asking. At some point, I'll probably make a video about it, but I'm probably going to wait to decide if I'm going to use the ZimaCube or if I'm going to use a different mini PC that I've got with an Oculink attachment, so I can put a GPU on it. I'm not sure which route I want to go yet. I've got a GPU that has the Oculink option that I can reconfigure some stuff. The problem, sorry, I've got an itch on my leg. That's why I look stupid right now. I mean, more so than normal. The problem with going with the mini PC route that I'm considering going is that it only has NVMe storage available to it, which is fine. I could throw a 4 terabyte NVMe drive in there and wouldn't have any issues, but I also wouldn't have any redundancy. I wouldn't be able to do like a ZFS thing. So I'm kind of not sure if I want to go that route yet, but because of my Plex server and the way certain people access my Plex server, I really need the ability to have a GPU transcoder. So, sorry. So I'm still trying to kick out what I want to do. Hold on, I'm gonna look up Zima Cube Pro. Let's see, it's this. That looks right. It looks like the Zima Cube Pro, which is the one that I've got down there, has the 1235U processor in it. Let's scroll down to specs. So it should be this one. So I think I've upgraded to 32 gigs of RAM. I may take that a step farther. If I go this route, I'll have to do some testing first to see if this will work for what I want to do. The other problem, yeah, better than the N100 version, agreed. If it was an N100 or an N150, I probably wouldn't, just because, but with it having this, I'm not as worried about it. But it's going to be more power efficient than the Xeon that I've got in there. Kyle says, oh, Ben, thank you, man. Enjoy your gaming. Hope you have a good time. Kyle says that's the problem with 10 gig. It takes a lot of extra power and heat to do 10 gigs over copper. You're getting the speed, but we're losing the... Yeah, so the problem with that specifically, man, I wonder if I've got... I'm gonna do this real quick. Man, so hold on. Let me see if I can find a good top-down shot of it. Because the problem with it, that's fine. The problem that I have with this device is that it uses proprietary motherboards in it, and there's a motherboard on top, and then there's a daughter board underneath that's the backplane for the hard drives. I don't have a problem with that. CMQ Pro images. I'm trying to see if I can find CMQ Pro inside. Yeah, that looks kind of right. What is that? Are you kidding? Just trying to see if I can find. Yeah. So they've got. That's not right. Okay, so this isn't a great view, right? But this is the backplane, or where your I/O is, right? These are like your USB ports and your network ports. These are 3 network ports right here, and this little card right here is the 10 gig card. It's right here, and then it's got this ribbon cable that connects to this plug right here on the motherboard. So, like you mentioned, Kyle, 10 gig does get hot. Well, then you've got this that's going over this ribbon cable right here. But more than that, you've got the CPU. I don't know if they're going to have a good view of it from a kind of a top down. So they've changed this blower style. This was the bad design, right? This is before they changed it, because it was causing all kinds of overheating issues. Now they've got like a tower cooler. Got to see if I can find a different picture. Yeah, okay, so here we go. Let's look at this picture. This is the tower cooler version that I have, and it is blowing hot air all over this. So it's bringing hot air. Or there's a lot of hot air going on right here is what I'm trying to say. That's causing this to heat up even more. It's not doing a good job of sucking air through this. And it's causing a lot of thermal issues inside this. And that's the issue. So I'm considering not using the 10 gig and switching to something else. But I don't remember if these are 1 gig or 2 gig. Maybe this will stay over here. CMaCube, let's come over to here. Network. Okay, so it's got a 1 gig and 2 of the 2.5 gig. That's good. So I may switch to the 2.5 gig setup over here and it should be fine. But I'm going to do some testing before I make a final decision on whether or not I'm going to downsize my home lab a little bit, because the community I'm in, the utility company that is available in my area is about to go to one of those models where energy costs a different price depending on what time of day it is, and that's going to suck because it's gonna screw up everybody's bills. And they've like, yeah, it's going to cost everybody like an extra $30 or $40 a month for their energy, for their electricity. So that was kind of one of the reasons that I wanted to start looking at downgrading from the HL15 from 45 drives to something more power efficient. And then also setting those two top NASs that I've got up there that are running backups, having them kick on at a certain time to do backups. And then once they're done, having them shut off so that they're not running all of the time. So that's my plan. They do not have AMD. I do not believe that Zima uses anything AMD. Can you put a heat sink on the chip? Possibly. Possibly. If I look here, so what's interesting, where is it? I forgot you guys can still hear me now that I'm over here because of the thing. New things, new changes that I'm still adjusting to. Man, somewhere in this mess back here, I actually have a different cooling solution for the chip in question. Sorry, you got to look at me in pajamas. I just wanted to be comfortable today. So I have a different heatsink solution, but I don't want to run the risk of damaging the motherboard, because the way they put all of this together, like the heat when you take this motherboard out, you can't see me, or you can't see this. When you take this motherboard out, the mounting bracket on the back of the motherboard is like glued on, because they don't expect anybody to change anything here. So they glued the backing plate on with like some nasty adhesive. And I don't want to run the risk of possibly damaging anything. So I'd have to soak the motherboard in isopropyl alcohol, basically, to get the adhesive on the back of this to release. So that's again one of those other obstacles. But I'm glad you brought that up, Mental, because I have a heatsink solution, a new fan solution, in boxes back there from Noctua, but I'm scared to do something dumb. Didn't they use some laptop-looking connector? Yeah, they did. It's basically a DisplayPort, it's like a DisplayPort connector thing. Like this is part of it. There's something going on here that was dumb. You have two slots. You could pull that 10 gig mini card out and throw a 10 gig card in there, a smaller slot. Yeah, I could. I could do something like that. I'd have to get a half card or a half height card, which isn't a big deal. So that might be an option as well. That's a really good point, Thomas. I might have to look at getting a half height card in there. I've got a half height multi-port 2.5 gig card that I could use. That might be fun to mess around a little bit with. But isn't that power change like a personal option? Or are they making they're making it mandatory for everybody? As far as changing, like they're changing their whole business model to have different parts of the day being, multi-tier rate for electrical usage. It's going to screw people over. Thomas says, I don't think there's room for a heatsink. There is. It's very small. I wish I could find it so I could show you. Hold on. You're gonna have to look at my pajama pants again. So, because I remember putting it back here recently. Did I put it down there? No, that's not it. It's not down there. Man, I know I had it recently back here. That's microphones. Because it's an interesting solution. that Noctua sent me when I first got the device. That's other fans. That was fans for my wife's computer when hers died recently. Right? Yeah, that's fans. This is, maybe this is it. Hold on, let me see. No, that was for my volume slider project that I did and then scrapped. And I really want to show you this, but I don't know where the hell it went. I think that's something else. Yeah, that's a mini PC. Damn, I genuinely don't have any idea where it went. These are 80 millimeter fans that were part of that project. Gosh, is this it? Nope. Man, that sucks because I really wanted to show you that because it was a really cool setup that Noctua sent me, and I don't know where it went. That's a bummer. Well, I'll have to see if I can find it, and then maybe I can make a video about it at some point. What is this? I don't think that's it. No, sorry guys, I don't know what I did with it. I really thought it was going to be more accessible than it obviously is, but there's actually a decent amount of room. These angles don't do a lot of justice as far as like the depth, because there's at least 80 millimeters worth of clearance in there. I can say that much. So there's absolutely room. I had it installed before. Sorry, I'm just looking to see if maybe I put it over there somewhere. I don't see it. I'll have to look for it and maybe do some content about it. But there is. It's weird. Glad I went down the ASPM rabbit hole. I don't know what ASPM is. That's SPM. Stands for Application Security Posture Management. Huh, that's cool. I'd be more interested in knowing about that. Work from home life, right? At least you wear pants. That's true. Too much work for that. Take the easy route. Could a heat gun, low heat? Maybe that could work as well. It might. I don't know. I'll have to try some different things. Pants are bloatware. I never wear pants at home. Yeah, I gotta be online and that sort of thing, or I might not. Power change sucks. You have that where I live. Yeah, like we don't have that option. Like I could do something that's like a flat rate model where I would pay the same every month all year long. But I don't want to do that either. I love how the utilities love to punish ordinary people at the same time while making backroom deals with large companies. Dude, and that's just it. Like energy companies, utility companies are raising rates on consumers so that they can make more money for data centers. And especially now with all of the AI stuff, they're really screwing us with some of this. So I think DB's still sleeping. Dude, I wish. I actually slept in this morning. Like I've been sleeping more this week than I think I have in a really long time. Like I slept until like 7:15 this morning, which I genuinely don't remember the last time that happened. Like I'm usually up by 5:30, and that's what I've been taking like NyQuil at night. So I've been sleeping a lot more lately, which has been good. Like I need the extra sleep right now, but yeah, so we'll see. But anyway, the plan is at some point to figure out like whether I'm going to go the mini PC route. I've got an AUStar, the AUStar Gem 12 that I reviewed months ago. That's a contender to use with an Oculink GPU dock, or possibly the ZimaCube. Possibly will. I'm not sure which route I want to go, but either one will be cheaper to run than the HL15. That was the other thing I wanted to look at since we're talking about it. Let's say, so right now I'm using about 360 watts in this rack. That's what I wanted to see. So 360 watts for everything going on in there. If I were to shut down two of my NASAs and use a more efficient home server, I could probably save quite a bit there. Like the DS16 XS Plus has to be on all of the time. That's where all of our media lives for for our media server. So, so say about the AI farm thing, I read an article on that almost wanted to make me puke afterwards. Yeah, I believe it. Like they're what did I see? Meta, I think Meta. Hold on, Meta data center nuclear. Yeah, this, like, Meta is signing a deal with a nuclear power plant to provide at least some of their power, which I think is great. I think we need to explore nuclear a little bit more. But I think the problem with that is that there are certain industries that would effectively suffer by not generating electricity by using coal and those sorts of fossil fuel methods, instead of using wind, solar, water, nuclear. I think those are all great options. But there are so many people who are putting money in the pockets of people who make the decisions that are keeping us from moving forward with more renewable, cleaner energy sources, because then those people wouldn't make as much money. So it sucks. Like, we're all paying for that in the long run. It's time with solar power company hit 70% energy produced from solar. Yeah, like we need more of that. We need more. We need more clean, renewable energy that doesn't rely on fossil fuels. And not just because I'm a dirty hippie, because I am, but I think we could produce more energy at a lower cost. Like, the upfront it would be more expensive upfront, but it wouldn't take long for it to pay for itself in the grand scheme of things. Thomas says, I live in New Jersey, and our state, as far as power generation, they're cutting their nose despite their face, and we're paying for the price for it. That sucks, Thomas. Really sorry to hear about that. Like, that definitely doesn't help with the overall image of New Jersey as a whole. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I really think, especially being that close to the ocean, like, you guys should be doing more stuff with water. Like, you got the ocean relatively close. So I don't know. Let's see. But once you create a 5 gigawatt AI farms, you need 2 massive sized nuclear power plants to produce that much energy. A mid-sized nuclear power plant produces anywhere from 5 to 300 megawatts on average. That's crazy. Yeah, like, we need more of that. Like, yeah. Hold on. Flamberg says, the only thing to consider is that the energy is the only thing that defines who comes in on top of the end of the, yeah. And that's just it. Like, the people who produce the energy control everything. And that seems ridiculous, but, like, there's a guy that shows up in my doom scrolling periodically. He's kind of an older hippie guy that bought some land a long time ago and has been building it up piece by piece and documenting that whole process. And he's all solar. And it's afforded him to be able to stay off of the grid, not as a recluse, but not having to depend on the electricity grid from the rest of the world. And I think it's a great idea. I live in the middle of town and I rent, so those aren't options for me. Have you explored looking into putting on a cheap co-location facility, like a quarter rack in a local DC? I've thought about it, but I don't know that it would be worth, like, renting the space. And I'm like, even though I'm on meds and my mental health is doing better, I'm still very twitchy, and I like to be able to touch my stuff. Like, I've got a VPS on RackNerd for some stuff, but I don't know. Like, and what's funny is, several years ago, I worked for a web design company. That part of the deal, I should back up. So I used to work for a website design and development company, and I worked there for a few years and decided I didn't like the direction that company was headed. So I had already made some connections with one of our affiliates, who they were hiring. They were looking for somebody to fill a position. So I went over there and I did that for a while at a marketing company. as an account manager, an assistant account manager for someone. And I did that for a while, and I made a bunch of connections there. And then I started my own design company or design and development thing, building websites, and that went really well. And then the company that I worked for before doing design and development stuff, they wanted to sell their company to a data center company's umbrella company. And part of the deal was they would get more money if they managed to get me to sell my company as well. And I was head of development for a while. And that was kind of the deal that we had worked out. But they basically, I could walk into this data center that was downtown for a while. But it turns out they sold the data center as well years later. There's a couple of others here in town, but I don't know that it would be any benefit to me to move some of my stuff over. I don't know that it would do me any good to move all of my stuff to a co-location setup. I think it would cost me more money and it would give me more anxiety. And I just don't know that would do anything good for my mental health. So, Thomas says, don't go there with water. They want to build wind farms on the ocean and the people are trying to stop it. I believe that because the sound of the wind farms will hurt people. No, I also like to touch my stuff. Yeah, that's fair. Zero says, I am exactly like you, hence why I have a home lab. Was wrong. 1.75 euro per kilowatt hour. Dude, that's bonkers. That's too much. That is too much money to spend on electricity. Are they trying to convince you to go solar? Is that what they're trying to do there? Because I can't. Like I can't imagine paying that much money for that kind of thing. At those rates, it's worth putting your stuff in a colo. Yeah, 100%. Like I don't know if I would even be like I would probably do a VPS solution. Wind farms only here. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like at that point I would just have a VPS set up somewhere. Like one of the RackNerd. Let's just look this up and do that. Yeah, like this is on RackNerd, and for $55 a year, 4 cores, 100 gigs of RAM, 100 gigs of storage, 5 gigs of RAM. And look, this is just a cheap VPS. But like for $55 a year, I feel like that would make a lot more sense than paying that much. That's Christ. Hetzner isn't bad from a pricing perspective. I've heard of that. I've never used Hetzner. I've never looked into them much, but I believe it. If you thought that was too much, here's 80 kilowatt. Dang. Your self-hosted nuclear reactors, right? Dude, did you guys see there's a 12-year-old kid that did something like that? Year-old nuclear. I want to make sure that this is correct. Yeah. Yeah, a 12-year-old in Memphis. In Memphis. Like I don't know if that's the actual thing, but like 12-year-old FBI raids 12-year-old's nuclear lab. Memphis boy achieves fusion in bedroom as agents test radiation levels. Like this 12-year-old built a nuclear reactor basically. It's like the joke that like if you guys ever watched The Big Bang Theory where Sheldon talked about this, about doing something like this, like just blows my mind that there are people that are out there that are that smart. Just blows my mind that there are children out there that can do nuclear stuff like this. Like, oh, you guys can't even see my screen. I'm an idiot. This. Yeah, like I don't remember. I'm seeing stuff that goes back to like, on January 18th, just one day before his 13th birthday. But like this came up again recently. 12-year-old kid doing nuclear stuff in his bedroom. Blows my gourd, man. So yeah, just good on him. Smart kid. I'll never be that smart. Don't even think it's possible. Let's see, what is this? This is a dashboard. Simple, modern, and dynamic dashboard for your traffic services. Oh. Auto discovery fetches. Oh, based on your traffic instance. That's kind of cool. Yeah, Colin says, I love seeing youth being thinkers and entrepreneurs. It's great to see. So often they're stifled and told not to. Yeah, they're told to just kind of go with whatever they're told to do at school or whatever, and they're not given those opportunities. And this kid pulled it off, and good on him for that. Oh, that's good. Good tea. Gosh, I wonder if this would work. Yeah, well, the only problem is he had to know what you call fissionable. That's it. Well done on that quote from Sheldon's mom. That's pretty good, man. Well done. Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah, that's awesome. I wonder if this, because this is pulling from traffic services, I wonder if this would work with Penguin, because it's using traffic under the hood. Interesting idea, but it just auto-generates a dashboard based on your traffic API. That's pretty neat. So new software. This is always my favorite area of the self-host newsletter. Is the new software. Yeah, Javaz says, I love how everything is AI powered these days. National weather is now powered by AI. On the site, it says it's going to be -2 degree, -2 to -5, and it's currently 27. Yeah, we're falling apart. Oh man, let's see. So new software. Again, this is my favorite part of the newsletter every week. I love to see what's new. So dev, push, build, and deploy any app with zero downtime updates. What? Like Vercel. I don't like the Vercel style platforms. I know they're great for some people. I'm not a big fan of those platforms. Ambies has a health tracker. Your personal health tracker. Okay. So kind of okay, I see. So well-being, notes, interesting. Saw a video about AT&T operators being replaced with AI. I believe that. I read a thing this morning, I don't remember if it was on Blue Sky or Fostodon, about somebody who got something or ordered something out from IKEA, and it was wrong, and they did this whole AI chat thing with IKEA's chat representative, who got everything processed and a replacement and a delivery and all of this stuff figured out, only to find out that the AI had hallucinated the entire thing and hadn't processed anything at all. So the person ended up spending like an extra 45 minutes on the phone explaining what had happened, and it was just like they ended up having to talk to a real person anyway, because the AI that IKEA or their subsidiaries had implemented just didn't do what they said it was going to do. And that sucks. Like there's too much of that. Like we're not ready for those kinds of things yet. Like the services, like if you're asking questions about something, maybe. But I also saw a thing a while back, last year probably, where there was a car company that had AI that was negotiating with somebody, and somebody managed to convince AI to sell them a brand new vehicle for like $1. And when they went to claim it, the company was like, no, we can't do that. And it's like, well, your AI said you could. And it was just a total crap show. Vodafone here just fired 4,000 people in the last 3 months due to being redundant after implementing AI. Yeah, it's like we're losing jobs to technology that doesn't work right yet. And that sucks. Like that's going to suck. That's going to put a lot of people on the streets, because so many companies are trying to go AI without realizing how much it's going to affect real people. Savag says we're in a transition time. We will be hearing things. Yeah. And then Kyle's like, AI is not intelligence. It's really just a well-optimized search engine that you can interact with. That's exactly right. That's exactly it. And people don't understand that. They're talking about adding or replacing air traffic controllers with AI. Jersey's been scary for that kind of stuff, for their air traffic stuff and the nonsense that like some people just won't fly through there because of how bad New Jersey's been. I think it's at Newark. It might be something else, but I've heard a lot of stories about New Jersey hellscapes in that regard. Jason says, or the Taco Bell AI drive-thru story where the dude ordered like 80,000 water cups. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Why do they call it AI when it's just an LLM? Because AI is a buzzword. It's a catchy thing that gets people's attention. If they say LLM, people are like, I don't know what LLM is. Like people will talk all day long about AI without knowing what an LLM is. That's hard to say. Because it's a catchy buzzword. That's it. I remember the car thing even. Right. Yep. The teenager who built the nuclear. I heard about that. Minnesota Twins Geek says the teenager who built the nuclear fusion reactor works at Midjourney now. Yeah, I heard. Dude's super smart and got a great job there. Yeah, AI is a tool and not a replacement for people. Yep. Zuck already stopped hiring AI engineers and researchers. Currently, the only companies having success in AI are the cloud platforms. Yeah, like I bought a new phone recently. I say new, it's an S24. Like I always buy a refurb of like the previous year's model when I update because I'm not paying new prices. I picked this up for just like $400. Anyway, even it's got a bunch of AI nonsense on there that I had to disable. And I'm like, I don't care. Don't do AI on my stuff. AI is the same as blockchain was a couple of years ago. Sort of. I still think blockchain and crypto is a Ponzi scheme, but so it made millionaires out of a lot of people, but at the cost of a lot of others. Kyle says, I think this is a problem we as humans have. We get all caught up in buzzwords, cloud, AI, etc. Yeah, people that say cloud all day don't realize cloud is just renting space on somebody else's computer. It's people hear the buzzwords and they're like, oh, it's an ethereal thing. No, you dumbass, it's somebody else's computer with an operating system on it. You're renting space and resources from someone else's computer. And people just don't understand that. And it blows my gourd that we'll get caught up in these buzzwords without having any fundamental understanding of the technology that's under it. And I mean very, very fundamental. People say cloud and they think it's some magic thing. No, it's a computer with a website on it, and that's it. And a file storage probably, and that's it. It's the new Coke. Sorry, I'm old. Yeah, I get that. I like this mood in the live stream. Nice lighting. Thank you. New camera. And my lighting didn't change. My camera did. My lighting has not changed at all. A few weeks ago, I bought a new camera to use for this stuff, for the tutorials, for the live streams, and that sort of thing, so that I can use. This is the camera that I've been using forever. That I've been for live streams and tutorials and whatever. It's Panasonic G7. Bought it years ago, but I wanted to start using that for product reviews rather than using my phone, because I had the S22 at the time. The S24 is a little bit better, but not enough. So I just decided to get the camera, the new Elgato Facecam Pro. And I've been tweaking settings in the camera app to find kind of the light aesthetic that I'm looking for. I will say this camera is way, way wider than my previous camera. So that's so like I said, I'm still working on some different things. Like I could bring this in, but But then we started getting artifacting and that sort of thing when I zoom in. I can bring this up a little bit. And this is more or less the view you got last time. But this is at like 150%. Well, that's 150% zoom. So, you know, it's fine, but I don't like I can see over here in my monitor, like I can see artifacting going on behind me because of the zoom. So I just kind of leave it there and it's fine. But yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Can I host my AI cloud? No, you can't. Like I've got most of my AI stuff shut down. It just didn't do anything for me. I personally think that the AI stuff is going to pop like the .com did eventually. It's hard to say, man. We're going to have a lot of bad actors for a while. We're going to have a lot of people scamming people for a while with AI. And the problem is, at least in the United States, the people who are making the laws around technology don't understand technology. And it's not even a political thing. It's on both sides of the aisle. The people who are making the laws are on average of like 62 years old or something, I think I read. And they don't understand. Like when the thing happened with Meta a few years ago, and they were like, so you've got this free service, and they were talking to Mark Zuckerberg, and they're like, so you've got this free service, so how do you make money? And Zuckerberg was just stared blankly at the guy, like, are you an idiot? But like kept his composure, and he's like, we serve ads. And like the person, the government person was like, huh? Like, I don't get it. When there was the thing with TikTok, like, if I've got TikTok on my phone, does your app connect to my Wi-Fi if I try to use it? Yeah, the app has to be connected to the internet to work. That's how online works. And these people that are making these laws are so stupid. Let me rephrase that. They're so ignorant. They don't understand the very, very basics, and they don't have the wherewithal to make laws about it. Somebody recently tried to get an amendment to a bill or a law or something recently that said that was going to block the ability to make laws on AI for like a decade. That's a nefarious thing to put in there. It's AI is scary right now in a lot of ways. Like somebody said earlier, it's a search engine you can interact with, but it's a specifically curated search engine that you can interact with. And there's lots of different search engines, LLMs, use that interchangeably, that you can use depending on what you're trying to do. But it's not smart. It's just regurgitating information. We've talked about that in the past. But it's hard to say what's going to happen, and it sucks. Thunder says, I 100% agree. I work in a data center, and all of our clients have the wrong idea about cloud or AI. Yeah. You need like a Stream Deck to do all those presets. I have one right here, but it's an older one, and it's fine. But I need to like do more with it to make things more engaging, if I'm honest. This streaming thing is still something I struggle with. Because the reality is even when I'm doing tutorials, right? Like, I'm not an entertaining person most of the time. Like, I can have my moments, and I can get people to chuckle every once in a while, but I'm not the super engaging, quick moving, like, changing things constantly. Like, my goal is to educate people more than it is to entertain people, and I have a hard time being more entertaining and more engaging. I'm aware of that. Mr. Peterson, thank you so much for your donation. It just came through. That was really nice of you. Thank you. But so I'm like, if I was I'd be constantly looking down here for the next thing. Like, I could probably play around with this, but the reality is, right? Like, let me just pull this up so you guys can see if I can remember what I'm looking for. It's up here. It's up there. It is. Let's do that. Let's do that. Right. Let's flip this around. Let's do the back. And then let's find this. Right. There we go. Shoot, that's backwards, isn't it? That sucks. Let me transform this. we're going to flip horizontally. There we go. Cool. So that's my Stream Deck, right? This is what I'm currently using. And I've just got my different scenes on there. I can start and stop my stream. And I can record. This is how I've currently got things set up. And I feel like if I wanted to be more engaging with the wild nuttiness of that, I would need a bigger one. I need one of those that's like a bunch of different buttons on it. So I got one that's just for streaming and one that's just for effects and that sort of thing, which I don't hate. But again, I'm cheap. I need to see if I can find one on eBay that's cheap. And let's see. Hold on, I'm getting caught up here. Thomas is right. This is the first generation of this technology. Yeah, and I agree. Like, we have to go through the hardships of it before we can make it good. All that tooling is what's going to replace folks. Yeah, but it's going to be a while before it's effective. You know, they're going to lay off a bunch of people for this AI stuff and realize they made a mistake, and then go back and have to rehire a bunch of people. Colin says, "Oh my God, that congressional hearing with the TikTok CEO was insane." Yes, it was. No, the app works on good vibes, right? Agreed, and they're getting kickbacks from those said companies. Yep. Let's see, Grade Low Maker. Have you read or heard anything about the new standard for TV broadcast, this group, the Next Gen TV? I haven't. That's interesting. AI is stupid. You ask the wrong question, you get the wrong answer. That's exactly right, Thunder. When I do use AI, like, I'll have an email that I've written up that's just full of a lot of words, and it's like, okay, this is too much. And I'll say, hey, like, I'll go to an AI, whether it's Copilot or Gemini or whatever. I also use Claude sometimes, and I'll say, like, look, I've got this email response. Like, I'll say, like, here's the email I got. Here's the email I've got as a response. I'd like this to be cleaned up a little bit. Be sure to ask any questions that you need in order to make this work, right? And then it will ask me a series of questions. And then I will answer those questions, and I will very often get a better response that way if I tell it to ask me questions before it does anything, because then it's not making assumptions on my behalf, mostly. So I will say, here's the problem, here's the solution I have, I need a better solution based on what I've already got, ask me questions, then we'll work on this. And most of the time that gets me a much better result. Svog says, but the same here in the EU, with one difference, the lawmakers are educated enough to still do the same as yours. That's fair. That sucks. The way we use AI today is very useless. Like, I can't believe people that are using AI as a therapist. Dude, there was a kid, there was somebody recently that went to New York that ended up passing away as a result of AI convincing him to do something. I saw a thing the other day where a kid was using, I think it was a kid, that was like, I'm thinking about unaliving myself. And AI was like, yeah, that's a great idea. You should do that. Would you like to talk about different ways that we can do that? Like, there's not enough safeguards in place to keep bad things from happening. Sorry, I say Vaz because I don't know how to pronounce your first name, Joao. I don't know how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to keep calling you Vaz right now. Says, don't worry about the being more funny part. We all enjoy your company regardless. That's why we keep showing up every Saturday, and I really appreciate you guys for that. Kudu says, some people using AI as a boyfriend, girlfriend. Did you guys see the South Park episode about AI? Dude, season 27's killing it on South Park. Though I'm worried about the people that are doing South Park. I am genuinely concerned that they're going to disappear. Like, it's just like some of the stuff they're covering, the way they're covering it, like, I am concerned for their safety. My wife and I have had that conversation a few times. Basically every episode of the new season of South Park, my wife and I have had concerns about the safety of the people behind South Park. And I don't just mean Matt and Trey. I mean, like, all of the voice actors and actresses that make South Park happen. I can't imagine the safety precautions that they have to have in place. Crazy, crazy stuff. All right, so Thomas says the next gen standard is ASTC3 broadcast that also allows broadcasters to apply DRM encryption over the air broadcast, and it cuts the network. Whoa, I had not heard about that. That sucks. People are going to have to get on that quick. Kyle says they survived Tom Cruise in Scientology, and I've actually seen that argument a few times, but it's like every time they go after somebody or an organization or a person or a whatever, it was kind of the same thing when they did the Muhammad episode. They survived that, and I agree, but they're very, very ballsy in what they're doing. Why I don't want South Park. I like South Park. I've been watching it since it came out. I really enjoy it. Like there was a series, there was a couple of different story arcs that I really didn't like. The Coon, Cartman's Coon superhero arc I didn't like. Like I appreciated Mysterion, but I didn't like Coon and his nonsense, mostly because of Cartman. I didn't like the Cartman gets a girlfriend arc. There was a lot of stuff that they've done that I didn't like, but there's definitely some that I did. So anyway, it was, yeah. So, but other than that, like we're rewatching it right now. There's a lot of stuff I like in there. But Matt says, "Yo, DP Tech, how you doing? Better than I was a week ago, but not as well as I'd like. My wife and I are both fighting a bug, but we'll get through it. And you also need an internet connection to use it. Wait, what? I missed something. Oh, for the next gen stuff, that's bonkers. Kudu. Oh, I meant to type watch and not. I got you. Okay. No worries, man. We all have moments, so no judgment. No judgment at all. But yeah, like we often get concerned about the safety of those guys because they're doing some crazy stuff. South Park is a twisted reflection on society, and it's funny, and that's their point. Like that's what they've been doing for a really long time. Honestly, one of the things that I really liked. I really liked what they were doing up until they started getting to the point where everything had to be a pop culture reference. Like some of the early stuff was fine, but when it got to be like things that literally happened the day before the episode came out, like when it was that current, I felt like it was too on the nose sometimes for a while. And I liked it. There was a period, I liked the period of time before that where it was just the boys going out and being funny and having an adventure, like I think it was episode or season 6. I think it was the first episode of season 6 where 6 was called Canceled, where it was a rerun of what had already happened. Where it was a meta of itself. But when it started getting into these direct, super on the nose things, I started being less interested, and then they kind of switched it. I've kind of gone back and forth on some of that kind of stuff over the years. But it's why I like Bob's Burgers, right? It's just the family having family adventures, having family issues, those sorts of things, and it doesn't rely on the cultural zeitgeist to reflect the content or the content to reflect the world, because we're seeing enough of the world in real time constantly. Sometimes I like a break from what's going on in the world. So I bounce around a lot with what shows I'm watching as a result of that. But I still watch it. I still watch South Park. Every time a new episode comes out, I'm on top of it because I really like it. Mr. Peterson, because I will butcher your name, and I always have, says, I would like to mention the new microphone is great. Yeah, thank you. I'm really, really happy with it. This is only the second or third time I've used it. And I paid $110 for 2 microphones and 3 different types of connections, and it just blows my mind. Just so happy with the sound quality, the ease of use, just really, really happy with it. So I'm glad that it's actually making a difference. Sven, because I think honestly, here's what I think happened. If I'm being honest, we've got somebody else named Sven, and I think it confused me. Savag, I feel like we had another Sven in here, so I apologize if I got confused. So yeah, Sven it is. Sven it will always be moving forward. 26 episode 4. I honestly I haven't. I skipped season 26 unintentionally. I need to watch that. I need to go back to season 26 and get caught up. Like I made it all the way through, and then last year wasn't great for my mental health, and I didn't catch up on 26. But 27 has been a great season. So yeah, so Sven, I apologize. I don't know. I think I just got confused. Thomas says, "Isn't it great when a purchase goes right, dude?" I struggle with that. I will rack my brain for weeks or months before I make a purchase sometimes. This one I didn't have quite as much of an issue making the decision on, because I've seen Marquez Brownlee and his crew using these or a version of this. And I have, like I said, I've got a different version of this, an older version of the Holy Land stuff. It was fine. It just didn't sound quite as good. And I was like, screw it, I'm going to look into something different, because I got tired of all of the different microphone setups that I had tried. And so, yeah, I went to Amazon and I was like, a wireless lav mic, and this one came up as the top rated. Realized it's the same one that MKBHD uses, or very close to the same one. I was like, screw it, it's $110 for this setup, and it's been amazing. So I'm super, super happy with it. Super happy with it. So I just, but like anytime I'm looking for a purchase to replace something, I will fret over it for months sometimes before I decide not to make the purchase. Kyle says, "What projects, videos do you have in the pipeline? Really enjoy your walkthroughs and new self-hosted apps." At some point, like I said, I've got a list of stuff over here that I've got coming up, like that I need to look into. Actually, now that I think about it, we did House, like that one is done. We did that. OpenCloud is a potential for a new app to look at. Pulse we talked about earlier. Adventure Log I'm going to take a look at. I've got an idea for a stack that is so. A couple of weeks ago, we did a live stream on a service called Kiwix. That's kind of a. Well, that didn't load well. What's going on there? Which is like a self-hosted, like Wikipedia style thing, where you can get. Is this going to work? Basically, you can self-host like a clone, sort of a clone of like Wikipedia. That caused some drama in the comments, but it's not just Wikipedia, right? Like it's not. You can clone like Wikipedia and iFixit's stuff, TED Talks, medical journals. Like you can bring all of these educational repositories in and self-host. So that kind of got my mind thinking about the opportunity to have or to do kind of a like a prepper stack, like things that you would use if you were, like prepping for like an apocalyptic kind of thing, right? Just kind of as not necessarily a joke, but kind of a niche thing, right? Like, in fact, a couple of weeks ago, I put out a post on social media, like what apps would you include in a prepper stack? If you were like an apocalypse prepper, what kind of apps would you want in your self-hosted stack? And I was thinking Kiwix, because you can bring educational repositories into it very easily. Like Homebox, probably a media server. I don't remember what all I said even. Let me do YouTube, that. posts. So I said Plex, Homebox, Kiwik, ArchiveBox, Nextcloud. Yes, even Nextcloud. And several people mentioned AI. And I was kind of shocked by that, but not for the reason you would expect. Because we're talking about an apocalypse, an apocalypse here, right? Like literally said apocalypse here, which implies, which I thought would imply the idea of limited energy resources. So if you were to do AI in your apocalypse home stack, you would likely need a GPU for that, which is going to be hundreds of watts of processing to have that up and running. Yeah, you can probably do it on a CPU, but it's not going to perform well. So I asked the question incorrectly. I should have said, if there was an apocalypse, what apps would you want in your low-powered home lab and why? Because AI, in that sense, isn't necessarily practical. Somebody at one point mentioned that they would want an AI chatbot so that they wouldn't end up like Tom Hanks did in his movie with Wilson, the volleyball. And that was like the best rationale I saw for using AI in an apocalypse. But as far as actually being in an energy conservation state, I don't feel like it would make sense to have AI because of the amount of power that it would use to work. Vaz says, for the Doomsday scenario, you need to review Meshtastic and LoRa mesh networks. I keep hearing about Meshtastic, and I've never looked into it. It's an open source, off-grid, decentralized mesh network built to run on affordable, low-power devices. That's interesting. Let's jump over to here. We're going to reject all. Whew. So that is, wow, really? That just takes up the whole screen there. Choose a device. Meshtastic devices are available in a variety of configurations to suit your needs. Flash and configure your device. Flash your device with the latest version of Meshtastic and configure to your liking. Connect to your device via any of our clients to start sending and receiving messages. Interesting. I will have to do more research on Meshtastic. I feel like Electric Ranch did something recently about this. Electric Ranch Meshtastic. Yeah, no cell service. Can Meshtastic save us? Yeah, I'll have to look into that because that's a really interesting idea as well. I'm going to add this to my list because that would be an interesting thing to cover as well. I agree. So thank you for adding that for apocalypse stuff. There we go. Now, that's a really good idea. Thank you for adding to that. That's a great suggestion there. So anyway, yeah, I was kind of surprised to see that. But again, I realize, like somebody mentioned earlier, if you ask the wrong question, you get the wrong answer. So my question should have been in something to the effect of, in a low-powered, or what would you want in your low-powered apocalypse stack? Kyle says, I've often thought about this scenario effectively. Most of our knowledge and records are kept on servers within data centers. If these were all to disappear, something like this would be invaluable. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly it. And that's why I really liked the idea of Kiwix. But when I did the live stream on Kiwix, somebody had some really unpleasant things to say about part of my presentation because I talked about using Wikipedia as an example of things. Never mind all of the other things that I showed that were options. They were very, very offended about my demonstrating Wikipedia and how left-leaning, unintelligent people who have a 7-letter name that starts with lib and ends with a D that contains part of a word we're not supposed to say anymore. How those people were censoring the truth and all of this kind of stuff. It was all about censorship on that site. On Wikipedia, it was all about censorship and how dare those lib expletives censor the truth about what's really going on. And he just kept doubling down. It was such a, yeah, unfortunately, some folks can't look at the facts and remove politics from the equation, right? And again, I was using Wikipedia as an example, right? It wasn't that I was promoting Wikipedia as like, here's the be-all, end-all solution. It was like, there's a lot of information here that would be useful in that. But I also showed stuff about preppers. Like there was a prepper stack that you could build into that. I also showed TED Talks, I showed medical stuff, I showed iFixit, I showed a lot of other things as well. But because I talked about Wikipedia, this dude may as well have just crapped right in his hand for all he cared about my opinion, and had a lot of really nasty things to say about the political organization that varies from his own. So yeah, it was quite the thing. But like Kiwix was first and foremost. But you know, like Homebox to keep inventory of things, you know, like even in that particular case, I feel like Nextcloud could be great for keeping notes, and that sort of thing. You know, Meshtastic might be a great solution for messaging. I need to look more into that. But that's definitely something I'm working on. I've got more product reviews. And again, like I'm always looking through this kind of thing, you know, as far as looking for new things to make content about. Our school might be a great solution for that. I don't feel like schools would be much of a thing. So if you wanted to keep educating your children, this might be a great solution for that. I say that only based on what I see in this sentence right here. You know, some of these would be great for this kind of thing, right? So anyway, that's stuff that I've got coming up very soon. Once I'm not feeling like absolute garbage. Are you for real, dude? You need more therapy. Like it is. Whew. Sorry, the kid's headed to the pool and I'm in a hoodie. Sorry for bumping the mic there. Off you go. You got it, man. Close that for me. Thanks. Appreciate it. Kaz says, it's a pity you can't really cover the R stack in video, especially trash guides would be interesting. Yeah, here's the thing. I have R stack videos over on Patreon, and I hate that I had to put them there. But I wanted them to be accessible to the people who wanted them. I've thought about making Patreon-only content that revolves around some of that stuff, but I also feel like that's a form of gatekeeping, and I hate it. Like I could also put it like on Odyssey, or there's other platforms out there that don't do a lot of the gatekeeping stuff that YouTube does, but I also don't want my name associated with some of those platforms. Just because of, I don't want to get caught up in the politics of a lot of it. You know, if I go over to some of those platforms to publish those bits of content, then I have to worry about the vitriol that will come in the comments from people who have nothing nice to say about anything other than what their political beliefs are and all of the awful things that everyone else is besides them. I don't want to expose myself to those people any more than I absolutely have to. So I'm trying, I don't know how to handle those situations because there's a lot of really cool R stack related content that I would love to cover, but I can't. Also, I'm not familiar with what trash is. You mentioned specifically trash guides. I'm not familiar with that term, so I don't know what that is. Sven says, what kind of apocalypse are we talking about? Zombies? Zombies could be an option, but I mean, like, you know, something maybe something more realistic, but we could call it a zombie apocalypse if we wanted to be a bit tongue-in-cheek about it. But just, you know, like a basic, you know, when we get to a point where, you know, where we can't afford to pay our utility bills anymore because energy companies are prioritizing AI data centers more than they are the people the general consumer. When we're not allowed to have freedom of speech anymore because that's been taken away from us. When we're not allowed to have, when we can't be on social media anymore because everything we do ends up in an ad. When we want to just basically go off grid, but still stay in communication and not rely at all on any form of third-party service. We're going completely off grid to keep tabs on our lives, our friends, our homes, our whatever, right? Like what kind of apps would you want in those scenarios besides AI? We're talking about a very low energy power consumption scenario. Trash is effectively automated, quality upgrades, etc. Man, let me try this self-hosting. Like Ibercorp did a video on trash 2 years ago, which is here. Trash guides. Thank you, Collins. Appreciate that. Yeah. All right. I will take a look at that later. I'm going to add this to my list. We'll just add that to there. Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Thank you for sharing. The only reason I raised it is because it can be complex. That's good to know. Because yeah, like I feel like it's entirely possible that there will come a time where we may have to go almost completely offline, as far as like the greater using third-party solutions for things, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Google, whatever. Like I feel like there's going to come a point where we're going to have to bring everything in home, and that's going to suck. But yeah, I'll take a look at trash, and then thank you for Collins for sending me that. That will be helpful. I know it seems. Oh, there's a grasshopper in here. That's interesting. I know it seems maybe. I can't think of the right word for it, but I kind of feel like that's where we're headed, with the way certain organizations, which isn't far off, the way certain countries are banding together to do certain things to restrict the access that people have to certain things. We're getting to a point where we're starting to emulate other countries that we've talked poorly about for a long time, but now we're doing it. We're starting at a very small scale to test the waters to see how it's going to go at a future time, and that sucks. So I want to have something put together as, and I don't like the word prepper, but of course preppers don't like the word prepper. But you know, it's definitely one of those things that I've been concerned about for a little while now, and trying to come up with a solution that would allow people to kind of have one Docker Compose file that would encapsulate all of the stuff that they would need to keep tabs on, you know, their home inventory, to keep tabs on notes and things like that. You know, like the list that I read off earlier, that's kind of the stuff I was asking about. Sven says, I think trash is a good Patreon video. It might be. Maybe I will look into that. And maybe that's what I'll do. Kyle says, Spotify is an excellent example of this. Recently, price hikes and no option but to pay. I believe it. My wife and I have been, well, I say my wife, and my wife's been paying for a family plan for years now. Because for a while, you know, it was like $9.99 or something for her to have an account, or like $14.99 to have a family account with 6 accounts in it. So we've been doing that for a long time. But yeah, everybody's raising their prices on everything lately. And that's why, it's why I got rid of Netflix, because I got tired of Netflix changing their pricing model every 3 months and then losing licenses to certain shows or whatever. And I hate it. So we ditched Plex, we ditched Hulu. I think the only things that we pay for subscription services like that, we've got Prime, we've got Prime Video because we have Prime for Amazon, because we like how quickly things can get to us on Prime. We're absolutely consumers in that regard, but Amazon Prime comes with it, so it is what it is. We've got Spotify because we like Spotify, at least for now, and we paid for Curiosity Stream because it was like $12 for a year, and sometimes it's nice to be of an altered state of mind and watch their nonsense. Like, not all of it is nonsense, but some of it is. So, you know, it's whatever, but most everything else we do at home, you know, so it is what it is, but I'd like to have a solution that I could deploy quickly and just be offline as quickly as possible. Thomas says, when I did a test where I had video streaming like your self-hosted, like YouTube self-hosted through a website I managed, CMS was like 8 years ago. There are decentralized video platforms that absolutely work. But I don't know how well it would work in a situation like that. Yeah, Linus has Floatplane. Yeah. And they it's an expensive platform for them to manage. Like, they've got a whole team of engineers that Luke manages to keep it running and keep building new features and that sort of thing. I tried a couple of different times to partner with Floatplane to be on there, and I never heard back from them, which is fine. It's whatever. But I've never been able to get on there. So, you know, it's whatever it is. But yeah, the question that I posed earlier is, you know, what was the, and I asked it wrong. It should have been, what do you need in a low-powered home lab to get through an apocalypse? And it was meant to be a hypothetical, but not really, you know? But so that's, to answer your question, Kyle. That's some stuff I've got coming up. So yeah, I will take a look at Trash. I'm curious about Trash now. I'm also curious about Meshtastic. I think those would be great things to also have available. What I may have to do is kind of do the low powered, what kind of things can you run on Docker in a low powered scenario, and then maybe do a Meshtastic thing, and then also do like a Trash guide. Like, hey, here's this other thing that's I don't feel comfortable putting here. Go check it out there. I don't know. I'd figure something out, but yeah, I think that's what's coming up in addition to some product reviews. So, yeah. So I think, guys, honestly, wow, we've been at this for 2.5 hours chatting. You guys are awesome for keeping me talking for this long. Thomas W says, like running a home lab on an off-grid situation, which has limited access to a net. Yeah, basically, we're thinking low-powered. Whether it's an N100 thing. Like we were talking about this at one point. Trying to see. This has got an N100 with 8 gigs of LPDDR5. So I don't even remember what the power on this is. I want to look at the power supply, because I know it's not much, but I don't remember. Is this? Oh, that's restricted to that. 1 point. So input. Now we're looking for output. This will do up to 65 watts. So like this is, in fact, I think it said right there. Yeah, total 65 watt max. That was kind of what I had in mind when I asked that question, but I didn't ask the question correctly. So maybe I need to readdress it so that I don't get people telling me AI for everything. Like, AI is fine for some things, but so that was kind of my goal there. So maybe I need to reword the question of, like if you were to build an off-grid, low-power solution, what would it have to be, or what apps would you need on your 50 to 60 watt home lab? That's the question I should have asked, and I didn't. So I got the question, or the answers that I deserved based on the question that I answered, I think is what I'm getting at. So anyway. All right. Well, all right, guys. Look, I think I need to start wrapping it up. I love you guys for hanging out with me for so long, but I can feel my throat starting to itch. I need to go check on the wife. I think Jeff Geerling's the master on low power. He does so much Raspberry Pi stuff. You're right. But yeah, I think I need to go give my voice a break after the last couple hours. I got some research to do based on what you guys have given me here. I want to check on the wife, make sure she's doing okay, because she's also getting sick. Hardware Haven also does a lot of low power stuff. I agree. So yeah, but again, this was just an example piece of hardware that I had sit over here. So yeah, so guys, thank you guys so much for hanging out, for chatting, for indulging me a little bit this afternoon or this morning or whatever it is, wherever you are. Thank you guys for hanging out. Appreciate you. Thank you for the donations, both the financial donations and the channel membership donations. Those are awesome, and I really appreciate you guys for that. I'm going to start doing some more research on some more of these apps that you guys have suggested, and I'm gonna put together a Docker Compose that I think will be a lot of fun. So, yeah. So, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'm going to try to take it easy for the rest of the week or the rest of the weekend. We've got a visitor coming in for the next couple of weeks to hang out that we haven't seen in a while. So I'll be around. I'll be making some content. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll talk to you real soon.